Hey everyone, welcome back to Tivoli Zoo in episode 17. Today's episode, I'm joined with a guest. You all know her from the amazing gift shop as well as the viewing center to Predator Ridge, and I have Rycie with me.
Hello.
So this is, just so you all know, this is our second time recording this. We both had some audio issues, so we're doing this again. So the shock and awe factor is probably not going to be as high as the first one, but the positive is that I definitely noticed a lot more things that you did after just kind of looking around the file, and I definitely want to show those off. So I thought we'd start at the front here because most of the work you did was up in this entrance area, which you can already see the improved foliage. So I'll go into an old file and kind of put up a photo of what this looked like before, because it's probably been a while, but it was like it definitely showed its age. It was probably like one of the first things I made when working on this, and so the number of plants we had was very limited, and plus it was just like very simple and almost too polished. And so I think you got a lot of this just from like Google Earth and Google Maps, right?
Yes, I looked at the Google Street View images of the Denver Zoo and just kind of got inspired by the foliage.
Yeah, it's awesome. It definitely fits in more with like the generic foliage that you see around the zoo, and you even did an amazing job of capturing like the specific types of plants that grow really well in Colorado, because that's what they did. Colorado can have wet seasons, but also typically we're pretty arid in the summer, and so they usually try to plant things that don't need a lot of water and tend to do very well on their own. And so this, you nailed it. It just has that sort of natural look there.
I'm glad.
And then the other little details that I love, like just the weeds and sort of the long unkempt grass here.
We got a lot more foliage in the meantime. So
yeah. I mean, this is something that probably needs to be done like all over the zoo, honestly. And you know, there's certain areas that can definitely stay more manicured, where they would have the time and resources to do that. But certainly outside of the zoo, this is. I'm pretty sure this area in real life is kept by the zoo, but it also gets into like city park territory and stuff like that. So I'm not sure where the line is drawn between like what the zoo is responsible for and what the city of Denver is responsible for. But it definitely looks more like this on the outside of the zoo. So
it's still kept quite wild.
Yes,
not as manicured as in the zoo itself.
Yes, for sure. And so one of the things that I asked you to do, which turned out incredible, and I'll put up a photo of the sign too, so people get an idea of the reference, but you absolutely nailed the entrance sign. And I'll show what was there before too, because people probably don't remember. But again, it was something that was made very early on in the game, and it's one of those things that as you go ahead.
Yeah, it was perfect for the time with the pieces we had, but we have so much smaller pieces now and so much different stuff, like the wood pieces even that we just didn't have before. And now it gives this kind of plastic look, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how so there's an artist actually who did a series of sculptures for the Denver Zoo, and as well as the entrance sign, and it's really cool. I wish we had more of like these types of things. That's one thing that I'll look forward to. I doubt that Frontier is going to go in and like make these for every animal in the game in every single style, but that's the kind of thing that I know once they're sort of done developing, I'm anticipating that they're probably going to have some sort of theme maker toolkit like they did for Planet Coaster. And that's the kind of thing that I'm sure there's so many like one thing that's amazing about the zoo community is there's so many talented people who know how to mod and produce really, really strong mods. And so when that's finally released, I anticipate, more stuff like this being available. But anyway, his sculptures are incredible, and they start here and they go all the way through this bed, and then they go into the entrance area, and there's like some in all these like planting beds up here and stuff. So hopefully that's something that
I was thinking about adding some sculptures like in the Street View, but didn't really find any fitting sculptures. Way too big the ones you get with the game, so didn't really fit the area
for sure. So yeah, I just love how you captured how this really is in real life, and like even little details like this of like the mud going onto the sidewalk, and like this is really the first. I realized the other day that the last episode of Tivoli is like 6 or 7 months ago. I think like something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and so I've just I've had a lot of stuff going on in real life. I know that's typical of most people I think right now, but. And so I haven't had a lot of time to play, but it was just very slow and steady getting this thing done. But, more or less these decals and stuff, this is really the first time that Tivoli has had an episode with the decals, which were released like two updates ago, I think. But
Yeah, that's true. Well, I noticed that this area it's even worse in real life. Like I've kept it quite light, not to tank the piece count too much. But yeah, these decals did true wonders to this area.
Yes,
it looks much more realistic now.
Yeah, it's incredible. I need to get your like filter settings, because what you had looked so real. It was like photorealistic, some of the pictures you were sending me. And I love this too. I know you were the I think the original creator of using these little flowers as dead foliage and gutters and things like that. And again, it just adds so much realism. Those are the little things that you don't like the first time we went through some of these things, like I just didn't even, they're like so in place and they make so much sense to be where they are that you kind of skip over them. But when you actually stop and realize like, oh, that was intentionally placed there, it's it looks awesome. So, and then the other incredible addition are these lights. I think you posted a photo of these on Bro Nation a few months back, and like immediately were swarmed with people saying, "Can I have that? Can I have that blueprint?" So,
yeah, well, I mean, I can release them to the workshop at some point for sure.
These are just so amazing, and again, these are pretty much like a direct inspiration from what's in front of the Denver Zoo.
Yeah, basically as realistic as I could get them, or as close to the original as I could get them.
Yes. Yeah, they look amazing. I'm so excited about how this entrance area looks too, and it's an example too of how, like, it's not always a bad thing to come back to an area, like leave it alone for a little while and come back to it, because you can just improve it so much when you have sort of fresh inspiration and aren't so burnt out on a specific area. And this is a perfect example of that.
And I didn't even do that much. Like I just colored all this the street paints, added the decals.
Oh yeah, a little,
and just added
the
assets. Yeah, exactly. And you will notice when you put up the comparison, it looks so much better now, just with the gray. Would have probably been enough.
Yeah, it doesn't look so like pristine and plastic almost. It looks like actual paint on the ground there. It looks awesome. And I love the change you made here to this entrance area and to the parking garage and the little birds that you made. Yeah,
again, your the one you had was fine for the time being, but we have so many more pieces now, and these the fun pieces that I could use for the birds here. I really wanted to make that. I love that from the original one, but I did kept your clearance sign.
Yeah,
I just love that so much.
That's good. Yeah, I think this is made by Mr. Gomez, I think. So he was very early on.
Did he?
Yeah,
okay.
Very early on when this came out. He was creating like a lot of the backstage props and things like that. He's the one who made the ice cream shop that's way down here in the city. And so his workshop's got a lot of stuff. I don't think he's played it for a very long time, but early on he was creating a lot of assets like this, and or the sign I should say, and again just like little weeds and stuff like there, just making it feel very lived in. Is awesome. And then I love just again more details that you probably glance over just until you stop and really look, and these trash cans and the parking sign, the no parking sign, and then I know coming up here you've got like these awesome animal signs on the light poles.
These are Goron's work, I think. I just put them on a sign basically.
It's insane. Like the stuff that that you all do. I mean, you're very skilled with the art shapes and the font pieces as well, but the stuff like that you guys are all able to accomplish is just amazing. I mean, I know I've said this before on the channel, but I can't say it enough. Like, I'll take this any day over, you know, an image that was made in Photoshop and put on one of the screens. It's just so good. And I love the new bollards too. I had just the stock ones in there before, and these definitely, you know, aesthetically they tie in so much better with the lights and the roof of the, you know, the entrance plaza. It looks so good. Yeah,
it's just little details like that. Like when you can't distinguish, what piece is that? Like that gives, I don't know, like gives a special look to those projects. Yeah, and it's worth a piece count, I think.
For sure. And that is one of the, like, there's a give and take with the theme maker's toolkit. Like, one of the magical things about Planet Coaster was seeing someone post something and being like, how the hell did you make that? And then getting your hands on it and taking it apart and seeing all the pieces that were used. And some of that magic gets lost when you start using modded scenery and, you know, and the theme maker's toolkit. So, you know, we're still in that magic phase here with Planet Zoo, I think, for the most part. But I agree. That's one of those things where you look at something and you're like, how?
Like every project that Christina
right. Yes.
And Haribo do.
Yeah. That's a perfect example. So for those of you that don't know, I actually have the file, and I'm going to be putting up a video on the channel of their project. Neither one of them do YouTube, but you know, just to get some more eyes on their work. But they're recreating Copenhagen, and some of the stuff that they do, I mean, it is like insanely detailed. The signs that Christina makes, I'll put up a photo of those because those are on the workshop, but just insane the stuff that they do. And some of that magic will be lost when inevitably we get, you know, like a toolkit and stuff like that.
Yeah, but for sure.
One of the other things I noticed were some of these bits and bobs. So I know some of these are like yours from inside the workshop, some stuff from Eben that he made for, I think, Tivoli Zoo and for Tharmashadi. But these are freaking incredible. Like the brilliant idea to use these tile pieces, because the tile, it almost looks like they're wrapped in like some type of plastic.
Yeah, right.
With the way that the light's hitting them, they're so good. This is so Eben and Wyatt are helping on the next episode, and we were just kind of looking around when I was doing a planning session with them, and both of them lost their minds when they saw
it's literally
this.
Two pieces.
Yeah, they're so good though.
Yeah, the tile pieces are great for details like that. That's true.
Yeah, it's that's the kind of stuff again that I just love about this community and the game, and even like ideas like this, like these self-service kiosks that you put in here.
Yeah, I noticed that the Real Zoo had these almost for all windows, I think. But yeah, we discussed it, and we definitely wanted to keep one of them open.
Yeah, just so the people come up and use them. It's nice that that they come up and interact with it. And I think now, I could be wrong, but I think now the zoo does have one of them open. I think for COVID, they had a lot of the self-service. And, well, actually, that's not true. You weren't even allowed to use these during COVID because they didn't want people touching the screen. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. I'll have to pay closer attention the next time I go. But I just love, like, again, little details like this, the signage and the kiosks, and little bit of a spoiler. I know I've shown you some, but there's the Tivoli logo is going to be changing slightly with a future guest. So a little bit of a teaser there. I'm
excited for that.
Yeah. And before we go any further in, I want to point out the insane decal work on the roofs. These look so good. And the thing that's amazing to me, I actually clicked on them later. I'm going to go back into different view here so people can see this, but yeah, it just, again, talking about everything you did just makes it feel more lived in. It doesn't feel, this now feels like it's probably its true age, which is around like 15-ish to 20-ish years old, I think.
Yeah, if you remember, I asked you what time did you set this, what area would this be, so
right,
had a justification to kind of ages up a little
Yeah,
bit.
and it looks amazing. This is the decals in here are such a game changer, and this is the kind of sort of grungy thing that I'm gonna have to like. I'll have to do it section by section because there's no way, that's the kind of thing you get burnt out on pretty easily, or at least I do.
You know what? I slapped this together in like, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes.
Oh, sweet. Okay, that's good. Yeah, well, that's...
and you notice, it's if you look at it, it's not even all that much.
Right.
Like, only the edges and some of the ridges.
Yeah.
And it already transformed the whole thing.
Yeah, it's only 144 pieces, and you capture, it's...
And that's all the roofs in the entrance area.
Right, yeah, over here too. Yeah, it just looks so good, and like all of the wear is where it would naturally be, like where water's gonna run down these seams, and where sun's beat down on everything. So it just looks so awesome. And while I'm elevated, I noticed you did this, which is sweet too. I missed this in our first recording. Just some sunshade because they do have staff that sit under here and take people's, well, nowadays no one has like printout, they just all scanned on people's phones and stuff like that, but they still have staff sitting under here and protect them from the sun, so that's awesome. And
it's only on one side, I noticed, so I only did the back side.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. And then the other thing I want to point out, so one of my goals, which we hadn't really talked about, this was just a nice surprise. So you have the Keyboard Keeper plushies. So if this is your first time seeing Tivoli, all of these insane plushies are made by Keyboard Keeper, and every time there's an update, he releases more of those animals, which they're just so well done. Again, if Frontier comes out with plushie scenery pieces, I'm not getting rid of these. These are so good.
And he especially made some for us when I told him that I was going to use them in the gift shop. He released some early for me to use. He was really awesome about that.
Yeah, he's and there's some other items that he's made for me that we'll see kind of when we go closer to the Elephant Passage. But just another person that's really, really good at creating things that you look at and you're like, how?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I do want to. This was perfect because there's been a lot of people that have contributed to Tivoli Zoo, and I want to find ways to. Pay homage and sort of immortalize everyone inside of the zoo. So this was a brilliant way of doing that.
Yeah, and I'm working on more. So
awesome. So I think
switch back to
good call.
Different camera.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Which this is such a nice thing now to be able to have. All right, so I know you did a lot more work to this entrance plaza here. One of the things is this bed here, which is so much better than even unfinished. It's better, and you and I talked in the last one, like maybe leaving it like this, just giving the the illusion that there's always sort of work going on at a zoo. And I love this stuff back here. It's such a great way of being like, I didn't finish this, but I finished it.
Exactly. Yeah, I wanted to finish the area, but I needed the mod for that, the free build mod, which wasn't working at that time. So I just thought, there's always work going on, as you said. So just slap some work stuff down.
Yeah, no, it looks amazing.
Down. It looks fine. And then the other thing I did in the entrance area was some decals as well, and then these
these covers,
these gutter pieces.
Yeah, which are very necessary. I mean, that's you're so good at. I was telling Wyatt and Eben that like one of my favorite things about your style is you capture realism, but you do it. You do it in a realistic way, but it also doesn't feel completely out of place with like the Frontier aesthetic, which is not easy to do. Like it's, I think you can go full Frontier aesthetic and it can be like a little cartoony, or you can go like hyper realism, like some of the stuff Lighter does. He's the one who made these nets. But like you just find this insane balance between those two things that like, when you're just cruising along here, that is it obviously adds to the realism, but it doesn't feel out of place, if that makes sense.
I wanted to keep the aesthetic of the zoo. Like it is realistic, especially with the work some of the guests have done, but as you said, still keeping the kind of cartoonish aesthetic.
Yeah, it just, it's all the realistic details you would expect, but again, they don't feel out of place, which is not easy to do. So,
well, thank you.
But yeah, thank you so much for all of your hard work. I know there was you and I have both had the occasional issue of the game crashing and how frustrating that can be when you're working. So, so thank you so much for all of your efforts here. It looks fantastic.
Thanks. It was lots of fun.
Good. Well, as always, open door policy for you. Anytime you feel like diving into Tivoli, you're more than welcome. So
I have lots more plans. So yeah.
Good. So we'll start down here. This is the edge of the Toyota Elephant Passage as you transition into this bridge area, and the African forests will be over here. And so I didn't get everything finished, but I was kind of at a point where it's been so long since an episode has been out. I could have worked for weeks and weeks more finishing this up, and so I was just finally okay, let's move forward. Basically, and the other reason too, you mentioned it, is the free build mod. So now that I know what it's like to play the game with that, I'm having a really hard time going back to not having it. Specifically with the terrain editing and being able to edit the terrain around the paths and all that kind of stuff. It really does improve workflow. So when that's updated, I'll probably do more of the pathing and the terrain work over here. But in the meantime, while Eben and Wyatt are working on the next episode, I can blueprint and do that kind of a thing. So so that's the sort of disclaimer that it's not entirely finished, but for the most part, you get the idea of what all this is going to be like.
But look at that viewpoint. That's awesome.
Yeah, this is one of the design of this whole area is one of the coolest things I've ever seen in any zoo. Granted, I haven't been to a lot of zoos, probably 10 or so, but that's
still a lot.
Yeah, it's just, you can see the elephants all the way back there, and it just does a fantastic job of drawing you in. I'm hopeful at some point in time we might have gibbons. This incredible climbing structure and these islands and stuff were done by Wyatt. After the last episode, he sent me a message and was like, if you want someone to do those, I'll do it. And I was like, absolutely. And he actually has a new modular set that's out that I'll put a link in the description of the video for you guys to check out. But it's basically stuff like this that's fully customizable, fully modular, and these are the things that really make the zoos feel realistic, I think.
Yeah, it really draws you in when you look at that, because you have this secondary path for the Toyota Elephant Passage, right? So you might even miss it if you don't know if it's there. Right,
for sure. Yeah, because you've got this interior path. So you technically, one of the cool things about the design is, you can technically see most of the animals if you stay on this main path that kind of cuts through the zoo. So if you don't have the time to really go in, you can still have a good chance of seeing the elephants and see the tapirs there. And so that's an option for you. But I think little things like that, and even from here looking down, draw you in. And if you obviously if you have the time, you're going to walk down there and explore. So we will go in here. I think most of this was there in the last episode. You can see people getting stuck on the random path pieces that I have from the free build mod.
I didn't do much in this area. You did most of the work here.
Yeah, so this is true to the zoo. They have this little viewing kiosk that you can come in here and because depending on where the rhinos are at, or sometimes elephants are even in this yard, they can be a little bit harder to see up close because you've got this huge water barrier in between. But it's just a way to, I think, especially for kids to give them a good view of the animals if they want to, and it's just fun too. I think for kids to go in a little hut like that and scope out the animals.
A little safari.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So then these signs, of course, are by Lion, and he's actually going to be a guest builder in a future episode as well. And he's got a new sign. He's got 2 sign packs, I think, and a new one that just came out. So I'll link to those as well in the description. But just again, I'll take these over a billboard any day.
Yeah, they're amazing and so easy to recolor.
Yes, yeah.
And so versatile. Really good.
Yeah, that's one of the... So I've got like all of these way off in the distance where I can just go in and recolor. Like he's got these segmented where these pieces are together and like the fonts are all together and the backing's all together. So you can totally make it to the color scheme of your own zoo really, really easily.
Yeah, that's something I'll have to work on with my blueprints. I never do that.
I know. I never have the foresight to like think about, oh, if I did this, then I could easily recolor. But yeah, so this, I'm very, very happy with how this turned out. I mean, I think this is really, really true to life to the real zoo. And one of the things I think I talked about in the last episode is how this design, it appears like it's really, deep water here, but there's actually, if you look close, there's actually concrete, and it's probably only like 6 or 7 inches deep, the water. And then I've been at the zoo before where the keepers, they wear like those big flood boots or whatever, and they'll just walk out here onto the platforms, and they hide like treats and food and stuff for the gibbons inside the climbing structures to encourage them to get out and move around and use their space. And then also too, if they ever needed to rush in and assist the animals, then they can get in there really easily. But it's just really cool design with making it look like there's water there, but really it's not anything that they couldn't access. So
yeah, you translated that very well. Looks good.
And then one of the other things I asked you to do was just create more signage that was realistic for how this is. And yeah, again, this is pretty much dead on to what they kind of have in this area.
Yeah, right. I again used the signs from Just Gorn.
The animal shapes and stuff.
The animal signs. Yeah. Basically just put that together and used some fun pieces. Yeah.
And then these ones I absolutely love. They're just so like your graphic design skills are really impressive. And these feel very professionally done, and like even the little dots like leading you from one bullet to the next, telling a story. They just, again, I'll take those over screens any day.
Yeah, and you don't even have to, think about that too much. You just add some graphical elements. It's quite easily done with the new pieces. And we have those mods.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a mod by BongoHardwood, which I will link to his YouTube channel. He's got... It's crazy. He told me he just sort of picked up the modding like a few months ago, and he's already got like 3 or 4 cranes that he's put out, and it's just really impressive. So I actually asked him to make a Sarus Crane specifically for Tivoli. So thank you. Yeah. So he made it. It's still up on the Lexus mod site or whatever. But so anyone can download it. But he was kind enough to specifically make this for Tivoli.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it just so well done, and I'm just thrilled that there's now like another reason for the guests to make their way down here. And one thing I might change a little bit is drop down this terrain so that they actually, because in the real zoo, there's no fence here, so they can actually make their way down into this water if they'd like to. And then the fences are like hidden over here. So yeah, that's one thing I might tweak and change, but didn't get to it in this episode. Neither is the interior of this building done, so there's still quite a bit to do here, but I would say it's like 80% there. But this is a huge...
Guests looking for bushes again.
I should put like a trash can there or something so that they don't stop there.
But the model is amazing. Wow.
Yeah, really,
so detailed.
really, really well done. I mean, if you get out of the bush. Yeah, like the feathers are really good and just absolutely nailed the look. So I was very resistant to mods for a long period of time, and I still will be. I won't use any scenery mods, but I definitely will take advantage of some of the animal mods that people have used, especially because technically, if any of you watching were to download the file today, you wouldn't have to have that mod to be able to open the file, and that's a big that's a big win for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So, yeah, as I mentioned, this interior is not done. So that's going to be in another episode. But this one is done. This is, I got to show this off because this is insane. So I just had one of your maps up here before, but in the real zoo, they have this sort of kids game. And I think it's just supposed to be like a matching game or something like that. But it's got elephants and rhinos on it. And these things turn and you can like match up the animals. I think that's how it's supposed to work. But I can't believe...
I wasn't sure from the screenshots.
Yeah.
But just tried to get this illusion done.
Yeah, I can't believe you're able to get this. I like racked my brain forever about like, how do I do that? And then I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just put up one of Rycie's signs. So this looks fantastic.
That was fun. And only possible with the new pieces again.
These are the
update before the last update, I think.
These are the like little brackets, right? Let me change the light a little bit. There we go. That's better. Oh no, the metal. They're part of the European set.
The metal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can see the rhino and the elephant. That's so good. I'm so glad you were able to capture that. That's honestly something that like I kind of threw in the towel on, but I was bummed that I had to. So you read my mind and fixed it for me. So
you're welcome. I mean, you're doing such amazing work with the whole building and the whole layout. I mean, that's something I could never do. So
thank you.
I really admire you for that.
Yeah, the layout stuff was honestly the most difficult, and it's not.
Yeah, I bet.
I'd say I got it, close enough. I don't have the patience or the skills to get it, exact one for one. So, but I'm happy with how it turned out. So.
Yeah.
So this building is something that probably, you could, if you were really trying to cut down on like pieces and things like that, I wouldn't have done an interior, but it is something that guests can access. So when you come to the Denver Zoo, or in this case Tivoli Zoo, you're limited to this space here, so you're kind of boxed in. But they do a lot of work with the elephants in this main area. Like doing training or, examining their feet and things like that. So it is, or giving them a bath. Like sometimes I've seen them just get hosed down and stuff in this little pool area. And then in wintertime too, especially, they do tend to keep at least one or two elephants in this area on display. And the other ones in their pens back here. So, in terms...
Little gates, again, I love them. It's... gives so much detail.
These were painstaking, but very, very happy. And I'm so glad we have these metal pieces. Like this is another example of something that wouldn't have happened prior to some of the updates. So, but we come in here, and I'm not sure if this is how these things work in real life. I downloaded this part from the workshop, and I will link to that below. But their example had like all these sort of gates around it. I didn't think that's something that an elephant would probably walk into. I'm sure they have them trained to just sort of stop on a pad like this and weigh them. So some of the zoo pros might be able to correct me and tell me, or maybe if you have a link to a photo or something, feel free to share that if there's something more accurate that can be done. But I just wanted to capture that because I know they do have that in this area. This would be, like these gates can close. So this would be something that they could bring an elephant into this area, close the door, and then work on those things with the animal. So yeah,
and again the gates, so brilliant.
So that's one thing that even though they don't like function if an animal's nearby, and I hid the door in there on a double gate, but all of the doors in here except for these keeper ones function and slide open, which is fun. So come in here
for sure.
And all of these are on each side. They're connected, so they can move the animals without having them go in this main area. But then the animal can also come out here and make their way down to some areas where the keepers can work with them, or if they need to move the animal from the building entirely, they've got the option to get things in and out here. And I think they also do that kind of thing in this yard back here. I know there was a couple years ago, they had got a new elephant to the zoo, and I think they acclimated them back here before sort of introducing them to the other, because the Denver Zoo only has male elephants, which is interesting. And so they kind of have There's 2 younger males that are sort of buddies and are always together, and then there's like an older male that I think they kind of typically keep him on his own because I think he can get a little annoyed with the younger ones.
So he always has his own yard?
Not always. I have seen him. He's people from Colorado watching this will know his name's Groucho. And he's like a 50-year-old elephant. So I think it's a function partially of one, he doesn't have quite the patience with the younger elephants as maybe they would like, but then also just him being a little bit older. I'm sure they don't want the younger males getting too rambunctious with him either. But yeah, I have seen him in the pen with some of the others before, but typically he's on his own. So yeah, let's go. Before I do the backstage, let's finish the front here.
Yeah.
Oh,
like the UI maybe?
Yes, yeah. Well, real quick before I do that, I do want to show the other areas here. So yeah, I put in.
You didn't show the top area here. You did the catwalk all the way around.
Yep.
Right?
So yeah. So the only thing I need to finish is this ladder. This was actually something from PS Vision Gaming. I think I took from his workshop. He's got tons of like realistic stuff like this, but I just need to tweak it a little bit to make it fit the design that I already have going. But yeah, I did this catwalk area. You've got some roof access there. For people that need to service that. And then, yeah, they do, like I said, they do a lot of work with the elephants in this indoor area, just because it's so contained, and then they can safely work with the animals from the catwalk. So I definitely wanted to capture that element of the design. And then the other cool thing about this design, so followed the catwalk. They have these doors that lead outside, and I've even seen them at the zoo, work with the elephants from here as well, if they happen to be, or if they need to draw the elephants back to the barn, they can, a lot of times they'll tempt them with some food or something like that over the side of this just to draw them closer to the building itself.
So they wouldn't even go into the yard itself? Right,
yeah. I don't think so as long as the elephants are in there. I think they always try to have a barrier. I mean, I don't know for sure if that's a thing. Some of you zoo folks can probably comment and let us know if that's ever a thing, but I think for the most part they basically have the ability to interact with the animals without ever having to go in the yard with the animal. So...
Yeah, it's so cleverly designed.
Yes,
again.
It is. It's just, I mean, like I said, it's one of the coolest exhibits I've ever seen in real life, and props to whoever designed it. I'm sure the designers worked with, pretty closely with the keepers to talk about functionality and what was important to them, and just turned out really, really well. So yeah, this again, more of the decals that we didn't have before. I was able to grunge this up a little bit.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and then you've got your awesome signs from over there as well.
Yeah, just the same ones, just recolored. And I love this little outlook here, like with the broken wall. That's really cool.
One of the things, like every time we go to the zoo, like the kids love this building. They always want to come in and look at the elephants when they're around here, and then you get a little bit of a glimpse of one of the shelters they have for the elephants. We'll see when we go around the corner here. This shelter also functions as the ability for them to work with the elephants even in the middle of the yard, similar to the one that's on the exterior of this yard over here. Yeah, we come under here again. Another amazing sign from Lion. Let me get rid of the UI. And then these are supposed to be bronze donor panels. Yes. So theoretically, the larger the donation, the bigger the plaque you probably have. But I know this was obviously an expensive exhibit, and this is a very common thing I know a lot of zoos do, is to give people the option to get sort of immortalize themselves.
It's great that you use the slightly different colors for the bronze, just to emulate how light hits it and gives off different colors.
Yeah, and that's then too, just if some were maybe installed a little bit after others.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And things like that. So, but yeah,
they're so simple. But when I saw them, when you posted them in the Discord, I don't know, I was really baffled. I love them so much. So simple, but Brilliant.
I was like struggling for a long time about how to do the roof on them, and these are just that European set might be one of the best. There's so many good building pieces. Yeah, so this is the European wall decoration, just sunk down into some limestone there. And then then you can see again the little shelter that they have in the middle of this yard. I know this was completely unfinished when we were in the last episode, but we got a little bit of a show starting here. Look at that. Oh. Now will an elephant come by? We'll see.
Elephants yet.
We'll see if the elephant will go down there, but we might get lucky.
Maybe.
So the this was only possible. So you see the keeper. There's no giant little kiosk thingy. So this was only possible.
How did you do that?
Because of that free build mod. So it's something that Goron discovered. So you can sink down a piece of path way down below, and it'll actually and then you put another piece of path right there, and then you can place the little educator thing, and then you actually can like sink the educator thing down below. So it is there, but the path that the keeper walks on is up here. Gosh, so they're all here.
What? We have wow. You know, the last recording we already gushed about, there was one elephant going there, and we've never seen that before.
Right. Hold on, I'm going to come around to here because
now
there's three of them.
What is going on?
There.
They're coming for the show, isn't that cool?
So this is like, I geek out about this because this was a giant pain in the ass to make, and it's just so cool that they come out here. I wish that they like actually stood there for the keeper to interact with them, but I don't think the keepers throw food over the water, so that's partially why. But this is...
So what they do, tricks or...
Yeah, so what they do is the Denver Zoo, basically there's usually only one elephant when they do this, and they'll have a keeper sort of working with the animal, showing off like what they do to train them and to help, all the training that they do to help with their care is what they show off in these. And they only do it, so they schedule two a day, but they only do it if the elephants like basically kind of make their way down here. So if they don't, then the show doesn't happen. But so they very much don't like force the animals to do it, which I think is nice. And but they get lots of treats, so I think they're usually pretty happy to come down and do it. But yeah, I'm just so thrilled that this is all functional, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, especially since in real life most people will walk down these central steps to their seats instead of walking all the way down here and then back up. But I'm just very, very happy with how all this turned out. I think this is, of all the things in this design, when it compares to the real life version, this is probably the closest that I've gotten, I think.
Yeah, you should be proud. I mean, you've sent me some photographs of this area because it's really hard to find reference photos, and I think you did that perfectly. I mean, it looks exactly like the real thing. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
It's really good, especially these buildings that you did.
Yeah, this was like all, thankfully I live in the area, so it's like we have a membership, so we go pretty frequently, and this is like multiple trips and multiple video. I mean, we'll get into the interior you made, but like even that, I kind of creeped in and took a photo of a bunch of people to get a picture of the interior.
That wasn't awkward at all, was it?
I'm sure they were all like, "What is this guy doing?"
Taking photos of the interior.
Yeah.
What? Well, thanks anyways for the reference. That was great.
So I love this sign that you made. That was another thing I know I asked you to do, and just another way to sort of immortalize people who have worked on the project. So Carlos, you are forever a part of Tivoli, and yeah, I love because the real one's called the Kamala Cafe, and this is just perfect. And then the other...
We will get a lot more of those
awesome.
At some point.
Awesome. So yeah, this whole area I think is like pretty much dead on, and I love these chairs that you made. These are so good.
Thank you.
They're very generic. They are not themed at all, which is exactly how they are at the zoo. It's like you have all this nice theming, and then bam,
these kind of cheap.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, but easy to manage. Easy to get new ones.
Right.
Some break and easy to maintain.
Yeah, hold up well in the weather. You can hose them down pretty easily, if you need to. And again, this is another little thing where it tells a story where it's like, okay, when this thing first opened, they probably had some like different furniture for people to dine on, and obviously that wears down over time, so they've got to replace it with something, and budget's a factor, and so hey, let's just get something generic. But I love them, and the scale is so on point. It's too bad that like stuff like this isn't functional, but
I was thinking about using the in-game ones, but just didn't give up the right feel.
Right.
So I had to build that myself.
So these are also
even these move.
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
I wish they actually worked when you walked up, but I love the interior you got here. I mean, you captured the sort of grungy, generic ugliness of the real thing so well.
The real one is it's very generic, as you said, not themed at all. Just this kind of depressing interior. I really wanted to replicate that. Yeah, keeping budget in mind. It's still quite nice, I think.
Yeah. I think relative to a lot of food kiosks and zoos and theme parks, it's definitely nicer than a lot of those. But it definitely shows its age. Like I love all the scuffs and stuff you put on the ground here, and like it feels very much like it was made in the late '90s, early 2000s, especially with a lot of things you see in American architecture. And then the other thing I want to gush over is this freaking soda machine is so good.
Thank you. Yeah, I really like how that sounds.
If you guys ask nicely, maybe Rycie will share that with you.
For sure.
So.
And it's quite simple, really. It's like only fun pieces.
Nice.
Even the body.
Oh, is it to the 3D pieces?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna look here.
It's like.
Oh, okay. The comma. Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's so
it's
so
only
smart.
The comma.
So smart. Yeah, they have such a good like multifaceted purpose, like the texture on those and the shapes on them.
The kitchen, I don't know who made that.
I'll have to. I feel bad that I don't remember off the top of my head. I'll try to pop their name up on the screen here and I'll obviously always include a link to these things in the description, because I always want to show off people's hard work when I use it in the zoo. And I think they're two separate people who made sort of this kitchen set, which is, I love the steam coming off the fryer here, and you've even got flames coming off the gas burners, and then this washing station is incredible too. The original one comes with like this big hose thing to wash the dishes, but I removed it because it was like 3,000 pieces or something like that. So I'm just trying to be mindful of that kind of thing. But yeah, I love this little restaurant shop here, and just the little dining plaza you nailed with the lights and the coverings that are fixed into place here. And even this is something else I noticed, even like the groove in the concrete for an expansion joint, and the power cables for the lights. It's just all those little details are so good. And this gutter here.
It's really not that many pieces. You can achieve so much realism with just like...
Yeah, like let's look at this.
I don't know.
14 objects, yeah, look at that. And like the correct concrete around it and stuff. It's so good.
Thanks.
Yeah,
and I love your the trash cans you did.
Oh, these are
exactly the ones they have in real life, right?
I think these are from Lion as well, and I just recolored them. He's got a whole. I'm pretty sure. Again, I'll correct myself with some text here if that's wrong, but he's got a whole set of trash cans that. But yeah,
I used mine as well from his.
I
used his as a base.
Yeah,
the
these
yellow ones.
Guys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The yellow ones, yeah.
Yeah, those are so good. So this whole area turned out like far exceeded what I had hoped for, honestly. Just the waterfalls here and the glimpse of some of the backstage stuff, which we'll go take a look at now. So again, another gate that slides open here. So we'll go in
I didn't even realize.
We'll go in
that is great.
The back. And I mentioned earlier that Keyboard Keeper did a couple more things for me. So back here, you've got all these different storage areas for different types of gravel and sand and things like that, because the elephants tend to erode away a lot of things and also create a lot of mud. And so every morning they go in and they usually put down sand and gravel and things to, I think, prevent that sort of stuff from happening. But Keyboard Keeper made this insane front end loader for me. It's funny, you can see this from the Google Earth view in this exact spot, and so that's how I knew. Yeah, that's how I knew they had one. So I was like, any chance you can try to knock this out for me? And he crushed it. I tried to do one myself earlier, and it just it was not even near this level. So.
Wait, these are custom tires, right?
Yes, yeah. I think he's got gutter pieces for the treads on the tires, and then I think font pieces are sort of covering in that gap there. And he's even got the bolts for the wheels and stuff. It's just so good. He like you, he was like, I think, I tried to keep the pieces low, and I'm just like, whatever, go crazy at this point.
That is definitely worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So this area back here, one of the things I was hoping to have finished for this episode was this whole area on the other side of this wall here. But it just, with that free build mod, I'm just not gonna bang my head against the wall on this stuff until that's updated. But this is we'll go around to the front of it, but this is there's several historic buildings around the perimeter of the Denver Zoo that are considered historic landmarks, and so they can't be demolished and they can't really be changed aesthetically at all. The purpose on the interior can be redone and repurposed in most instances, but the exteriors have to remain the same. So this is a pump house for the city that now functions as a maintenance building for the zoo, and I think they maintain a lot of the equipment here, so trucks and carts and that the tractors and things like that all get kind of maintained in here. So when this is done, there will be garage bays and things like that, but just wasn't gonna.
So they just built on this garage.
Exactly, yeah. So you have the original building sort of ending there, and then they built onto it there for additional maintenance.
Yeah, I love that you kept that. That's great.
Yeah, so this area gets into. I'm probably gonna pop out of the peep view for the backstage. I think it'll be easier to cover it from the free look mode. But so you've got keeper access here. Typically during those shows, the person speaking will stand up here, and then the keeper will be on this interior walk here, working with the elephants. But they obviously have this there, I'm sure, just to observe the elephants as well if they need to, as well as a little area that's kind of hidden back here for them to work with them or view them if they need to a little bit closer. And then this... It's
really crazy to me how you even put in the paths. I mean, I can't wrap my head around this. I would never have the patience to do that.
Yeah, I mean, free build mod helps there for sure. But... yeah, so this goes into more of how this thing kind of functions. So this is just an area where they could, if they were rotating elephants out of these yards or rotating an elephant back this way, they've got the option of, putting one in here, bringing one up here, and then bringing the other one out, and then even in between. So I think all of this was designed for, not necessarily, hey, you're going to use this a whole bunch, but for frequency wise, but just for function wise, you basically got as many options as you want to work with these animals. And again, here's a little you've got a keeper gate there, and then they can come up here and work with the elephants if they need to, and be safe. So
yeah, though people wouldn't really be able to see that.
No. This is all just because even from down here, you can barely see the elephants up in here. And then for sure from over here, you can't. So this area is really designed to be a private place for the, not private, what's the right word? Secluded place for the elephants and the keepers to work if they need to. Typically, the keepers aren't in here, so a lot of times, on a hot day, I've seen the elephants just sort of hanging out under this awning up here to get out of the heat. But that's the main purpose, is to provide a spot where if they needed to work with the animals and didn't necessarily want to try to draw them all the way back to the building, they've got this island here. And there's even, I'm going to fly across here. So it's similar. This will eventually have a similar type function as well. So basically every yard that's not attached to the main building has some sort of outpost where the zookeepers can work with the animal.
Are they working with the rhinos as well? Or just with the elephants?
Yes, yeah. But I think so this one, because they will rotate the animals. So like, I've gone to the zoo and the Indian rhinos have been in here. I've seen them in like this yard, and then the elephants in here. You know, they move them around, and so I think basically every single yard has to have the functionality to handle the elephants. So I think that was probably the first priority, and then you know, chances are if whatever your infrastructure is can handle the elephants, it can handle the rhinos as well.
But wait a sec, from here you can again see your genius in building this habitat, like the way you use the plaster for the water that you can't really see from peep view, and even the edges to the water.
This concrete.
I admire that so much. Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah, it's very, again, you talk about sometimes the simplest things, you know, really are all you need. This is just 2 plaster pieces. Yeah. I've had people ask me before, so I'll show it real quick.
Yeah, I was definitely one of them.
So yeah, all this is just 2 plaster pieces like that.
That is so clever.
Yeah, and then you can, you can sort of rotate them as you follow the water line and sort of create your border, and then you can also change these are much steeper. Here, which I honestly like, they look too steep, but in real life, like they're pretty steep. So I don't know how the animals handle that, but they seem to be able to. But it's just a nice.
Can animals still go down there?
I mean, I've never seen them there at the zoo, but and maybe the water level needs to be higher or something. But I've seen they are pretty steep. There, but yeah, I'm guessing that's what it is. The times that I've gone, the water level's probably not where it's supposed to be. It's probably supposed to be up higher for them.
We just pretend it's a child.
Right, exactly. So yeah, and then you get into more of the actual logistics of how this whole area functions. So you've got, this is where all the rhinos and tapirs are held when they're not on exhibit. And so that's one thing that I'll have to finish up. So you've got a pathway that leads up to the tapir exhibit up here. And then obviously the rhinos can, there will be a gate here for them to go in and out. And then this area, though, is primarily for transitioning the elephants. So they'll move the elephants into this area and then out here. And then these are 2 outdoor yards for the rhinos and tapirs if they don't want them on exhibit but want to allow them to be outside. So,
do you all get this from Street View or Google Earth?
Google Earth. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's and again, all of this stuff functions as well. Oops. So yeah, all of these gates open.
That's great.
And that's how these are wide enough too for like equipment and machinery to get in. So you've got a double gate on the outside where they could get a truck in, and both of these open, and they can get things to the gibbon holding area as well. And then I think most of these buildings are like, here's another creation from Keyboard Keeper that I asked him to do, was one of these cherry pickers. And again, he's got the treads, and he's got a version on his workshop, I think, that has the cherry picker extended as well. So of course I'll link to those, but yeah, just again, another amazing creation just out of all the pieces in the game. So yeah, coming further along here. So this building, I think, is all food storage, from what I've researched on the zoo, like just all pretty much for the elephants, I think, all food storage. And then this is a recycling and trash center here. They have some big recycling or thing that like sorts trash and garbage and stuff in here. I have no idea what that machinery looks like, but that's why you have this weird open space. So chances are I'll try to just like maybe use a couple of these condenser things from PS Vision and kind of make it try to look like some sort of machinery or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't even know what that looked like in real life.
Right,
so
yeah, I have
probably fine.
Right, I mean, yeah, if anyone has reference photos of a piece of machinery like that, please let me know. But I've scoured the interwebs and nothing. So
But even all the lorries you have here, adds so much realism. It's great, and even the
ramp,
the ramp, yeah, that's great. I mean, I don't know how is that free build?
Yeah, this was free build for sure. Being able to have that. So most of this, I would say about half of this area was done before I downloaded the free build mod, and then the rest of it, like specifically all of this area here. So this is where you get into City Park. So this is no longer part of the zoo property. This is just part of the City Park in Denver, and you can see this would be like a newer thing that they just did for the, more or less, these are like flood abatement things. So you've got this lake here, and then if this overflows, this fills up, and then from here, I'll have on the other side of the zoo over here, there's a huge like flood basin on a golf course. So if they ever got a really, really bad, rainstorm over a significant period of time, basically the zoo's not going to flood, more or less. But yeah, so this is all stuff that needs to be worked on in the future, and that will probably be another episode. But we've got this awesome pavilion that's pretty well known for Denver. It sits on the lake like this and has the city as the backdrop. And then the exterior of the zoo is slowly coming along as well. Again, this is another one free build that I'm not going to try to mess around with. So.
Yeah, but if you've come you've come a long way, so to say, with all this backstage, the patience you have to build all this. I always, I make a nice habitat, and then I say, don't want to do the backstage, don't have the patience to do that. So it's great that you build all this, and even think about like where you move the animals, where you bring in all the stuff. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I'm sure some of the functionality I have, like specifically in this area over here, is not correct, but it gives the illusion, it captures the general essence of how all that stuff works. And I think for me, it's similar to, sitting and doing a bunch of detailing is for you, where it's like, it's kind of therapeutic, but I do also hit my limit, and I'm like, okay, I need to do something that's pretty for a minute here.
Well, same for me. At some point, you just get burned out. You have to do something else.
Right, exactly. Cool. Well, that's the update. I know it's been a long time in between. We got another show happening here. I know it's been don't know why we have been complaining.
Yeah, I know. They go there all the time, apparently.
Yeah, seriously. We thought it was like a very happenstance thing the first time we recorded. We're like, that's never going to happen again. And here we go, twice in one recording. So, cool. Well, thank you so much for all of your hard work and all the things you did. I love all of the additions. And like I said, open door policy, you're welcome anytime.
Thank you. It was lots of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a long one here, but hope you enjoyed it. And in the next episode, we will have Eben and Wyatt on. I'm not sure how long it will take. They both have a lot of projects they're working on as well. And I don't want to rush them either. So we're going to see some changes to this area from Eben. And then the coastal area will get wrapped up from Wyatt, and all of it is based on a idea that Wyatt and Eben came up with while they were kind of talking about the zoo. And it's really cool. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's a really clever design, and it's honestly more clever than the master plan design. So I'm really excited for you all to see that episode and what they've come up with. But again, thank you so much for sitting with us for a while here, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.